there. Welcome to another episode of Driving with Jonny. I'm Jonny, and one thing you should know about me is I really like Lamborghinis. In fact, my favorite car is a Lamborghini Countach. However, this show is Driving with Jonny, not standing around looking at really cool cars with me. Therefore, you really don't want to drive a Countach. You do want to drive a Diablo, however, and so this is going to be the first in a multi-part series on Lamborghini Diablos. Now, my choice today was I had to pick between these two. On my left, this blue one over here, this is a Diablo VT. It's kind of the mid-cycle refresh of the Diablo. The engine was bigger, all-wheel drive, made more power, all that good stuff. However, we're not going to do that one today. No, instead, we're going to focus on this one right here. This is a Lamborghini Diablo GT. It's sort of hard to explain both how excited I am and how special this car is, but maybe explaining the Diablo GT will make you understand why I'm like trembling with anticipation of finally driving one of these things. They only made 80. There's only 80 Diablo GTs ever built, and they all came in either orange, yellow, black, or dark gray. Obviously, this one is painted in blue scuro, I believe it's pronounced. I know of one other one that's Tiffany blue that's kind of been living in Japan for a while. Might have just sold for $2.7 million. But this is the only other blue GT to leave St. Agata. So rare. Couldn't even speculate on the value, but a lot of money. What's so great about it? Well, this one actually came out before the VT. This was the first Diablo to have a 6-liter V12. They punched it up from 5.7. Horsepower went way up, 567 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque, and that was a lot of power for the late 90s, especially because traction control, schmaction control. Compounding that was the fact that this thing is rear drive only. Unlike the VT, it's not all-wheel drive. So all of that power, all of that torque is just going to the rear wheels. And they wanted to make this thing a lot racier, but to do that, they had to work on the cooling. So if you look at the front end, there's this giant heat extractor cut right into the hood. It's got 2 NACA ducts on top of the fenders. They actually widened the front track quite a bit to make it more like a race car, to make it sportier. And by doing so, they actually had to change the headlight design. Gone are the pop-up headlights for the first time ever on a Diablo. Instead, they have the lights. Yes, they're right off of a Nissan 300ZX. However, because it's a Lamborghini, they put black carbon fiber strips over the word Nissan, which I think is pretty cool. Speaking of carbon fiber, the whole thing's carbon fiber. Yeah, okay, the frame is still a space frame, but all the body panels are still carbon fiber except for the steel roof and the aluminum doors. The interior is mostly carbon fiber. So they really did lighten this thing quite a bit. And you'll notice it's got a roof scoop, which we'll talk about more later, but that roof scoop is functional. It is feeding the intake plenum. I am so geeked to drive this car. Before we do, though, I do want to take a moment and just do a little bit of a design breakdown, because you got to talk design when you're talking Lamborghinis. Also, remember, this is just the first part of our Diablo series. I know of 3 other Diablos, including this one right here in LA that I'll be driving, and I'll see if I can scrape some more together, put some more videos out. But I'm geeked. Let's go. Design of the Diablo GT. All right, so before we get into the specifics of the GT, I always got to tell my Diablo story because I know this thing. But back in the day, Chrysler had just purchased Lamborghini, and it's time to replace the Countach around 1988, 89, something like that. They get the great Marcello Gandini, the guy who designed the Countach, and the Alfa Romeo Montreal and the Lancia Stratos, and he presents his design in Tuscany at Lee Iacocca's villa to Lee Iacocca and the Chrysler board, and everybody hates it. It looks bad. I was shown a picture of it on a laptop. Hopefully one day that picture will make its way onto the internet, but it did not look good. And so the Chrysler design team, led by Tom Gale, said, hey, could you make some changes? And Gandini famously said, the maestro has spoken. No. And he wouldn't make any changes. And this is not the first time he did this. He actually did this with the Bugatti EB110. He wouldn't make any changes to the prototype. They actually got the architect of the Bugatti factory to make design changes to the car. Totally crazy. Anyhow, Tom Gale went to a phone, called back to Detroit, Auburn Hills, and said, "Hey guys, we're designing a Lamborghini." And the story I heard goes, this was drawn up, the original Diablo design was drawn up in Michigan, and they made the tooling and they mailed the tooling to Italy, to Sant'Agata. And that's where the Diablo comes from, which is, hey, great. Same guys who made the first Viper worked on this. I think it's super cool. Yeah, I obviously missed pop-up headlights. These look great, and you have to be a real nerd to understand that they actually are off of a Nissan. Same supplier, come on. Okay, they say Nissan, but here's that carbon fiber strip. Any car with NACA ducts is great. Giant extractor there. The heat extractor is so cool. It's really, though, I think with the GT, it's all about the air box here, the intake on the roof scoop is the actual name for it. Literally just feeding the V12s. It's right here. I mean, how wild is that? Totally functional, totally works. Gives this car a much different character than like that one. That's also a 6-liter V12, but it's just different. Those intake plenums are fed from the sides. This one is fed right from the roof, which is super cool. Yeah. That V12 over there is fed, the intake plenums are side fed. This one is fed right here on the roof. Coming out back, there's a lot of cool stuff to look at. Arguably, I think the rear of this car is even cooler looking than the front. The big thing is the wing. It's like this, kind of almost a snowboard. It's just such a cool thing. It's adjustable, manually adjustable. You can see the other position here. This would be the high downforce position. If you want VMAX hit 200 miles an hour, you would lower it. Huge exhaust pipes. I love just the grilling with all the, just for extracting as much heat out of the back of this thing as possible. I think, boy, it's just the coolest of all the Diablos in terms of looks. Oh boy, it could be, especially in this color. I just love this thing here. Let's get the, see if we can get the hood open just to look at, because it also has these cool gold valve covers. Let's see. Am I doing this right? Yeah. All ate up with motor. Look at that. I mean, gold valve covers. What more do you want from your Lamborghini? And the answer is nothing. But you can also see, again, the extensive carbon fiber. The whole intake plenum's carbon. The whole engine base around is all carbon fiber. Interestingly, I have a feeling that Horacio Pagani actually produced all this carbon fiber. I should probably double check that. But when he left Lamborghini, he bought himself an autoclave and was making carbon fiber for race cars and small run production units like this. So, this was like a couple years before the first Zonda came out. So he was practicing for that. So just a remarkably cool car. And look at this plate. Who doesn't want this? I want this on my car. Now, the question becomes, and we're going to answer this when we drive it, is the Diablo GT that much different to drive than other Diablos? Is it better than other Diablos? As I like to say, only one way to find out.
Driving with Jonny!
It's difficult to explain just how special and rare the Diablo GT is. Again, Lamborghini made 80 of them. 80. Ferrari, on the other hand, made 1,200 F40s, and they only made 471 horsepower from a twin-turbo V8. To re-underline it, Ferrari produced 349 F50s, and they had a racy V12 that made 513 horsepower and 347 pound-feet of torque. The Diablo GT's 1 liter larger naturally aspirated V12 pumped out 567 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. That's pretty good. I think I'm just happier when I'm driving a Lamborghini. A weird thing to say, admittedly. A lot of privilege there, but it's also true. Yeah, I know. You like your Bronco or your RAV4 or whatever, but I just feel good. I feel good when I see this bull staring at me. And what a car! Yikes! All right, obviously part of the reason I like Lamborghini so much, the company was founded as a big middle finger to Enzo Ferrari, but not just him personally, but the brand and the kind of the inherent snobbiness of, Ferrari. And this was sort of like, screw you, I'll do it myself. And it's funny if you think about it, Enzo really had a problem with farmers. Like, Ferruccio Lamborghini was a tractor manufacturer before he went racing. Remember, Carroll Shelby was a chicken farmer in Texas. Lamborghini was there to show up Ferrari on the street. Shelby did it at Le Mans. There's probably a Cain and Abel story in there somewhere. But back to this thing. Wow! It's a 6-liter engine, but it's not all-wheel drive. So most 6-liter Diablos, they're going to be all-wheel drive. VT, the viscous coupling, rear drive only, giant wide rear track, but it also has a wider front track. And because of that, I've never driven a Diablo that corners like this. Real good. I just keep thinking of like 996 generation 911s in terms of the steering, which is no bad thing, It's just great. I'd say maybe a little bit of a different rack ratio might be better, just because you're kind of, your knees are on the side of the steering wheel, so your fists are always hitting your knees as you're turning. But I guess if you got that, stereotypical Italian giant torso, short leg situation going on, you'll be okay. The engine sings, it's wonderful. Yeah. What a cool car, man. One thing that's sort of interesting with this powertrain is that because there's so much torque and it's kind of available for such a long time, that you're not shifting as much as you do in a normal Diablo. But of course, when you do go to shift, one of life's great pleasures is a gated manual. In this case, it's still a 5-speed. I think when the Murcielago showed up, it became a 6-speed gated manual. There might be a Diablo towards the end of the run. Have to double check that, but when you do go to shift, it's great. And I mean, that was the mission of the GT, was they wanted to make a racier Diablo. And so, carbon fiber, everything. I think the roof is still steel for rollover, and I think the doors are still aluminum, and everything else is carbon fiber. It's actually funny, there's so much carbon in here, and it's real shiny that you're getting all kinds of reflections. So sometimes when you go to change lanes, because you notice there's no mirror here. This thing actually has a backup camera for reverse, but when you're driving, doesn't turn on. It's just funny. You'll go to change lanes and you'll see a reflection coming off this carbon fiber, hitting the windshield, hitting your eye, and you think there's a car there, and there isn't. But that's kind of a cool thing. And you'll notice up top there's that roof scoop. That's because the V12 has individual throttle bodies, and so they had to feed them. And so that scoop up there on the roof, it goes right into the intake plenum, feeding those bodies. And the VT still has the individual throttles, but didn't go with the roof scoop. I'd say roof scoop's always the way to go. That's personal preference. I think wings are always the way to go. Scoops, love the neck and decks, love the fender vents. I just really enjoy this car, and plus purple. So this GT also has the refreshed interior, which is pretty damn swoopy, but I think it's killer with this red leather. Just a cool view out. Actually, the view out is one of the coolest parts of any Diablo. But people always talk about the NSX, how it's real low, like a fighter jet. Well, this is like a much cooler Italian fighter jet. I love this view. As for how this thing drives, it doesn't feel like other Diablos. The closest thing I can compare it to is a Bugatti EB110, the SS specifically. Doesn't have the lag that car had, but it just got that stiff, light and stiff feel to it. Although that car, the EB110, is much narrower. The advantage of having a 3.5-liter quad turbo V12 instead of a 6-liter 90-degree NA V12, as you can make the rear a lot narrower. But I keep kind of wow, what does this feel like? If you can think of the steering from a good 996. Not quite a GT3, but you know, that level of suspension kind of technology, and then just like classic Lamborghini width. And it feels like that. It loves going down the road. Most of the power's in the upper rev ranges, thank God, because that's where the engine wants to live. Oh yeah, just a sweetheart of a driver's car. Very impressed. Very, very impressed. Man. What a treat. What an absolute treat. Oh. Come on, man. One of life's great pleasures, shifting a gated manual. Yeah. Yeah, so this is what it's all about. You know, when you tell yourself, I'm gonna go out on a limb and become a car journalist, start my own YouTube channel, it's all about days like this. It's all about driving cars just like this. The Diablo GT is just, it's what we love about cars. I don't know how to make it fancier than that, but this is what we like. The noise, the thrust, the looks, the performance. Yeah, yeah, yep, done. All right, next. Time to change careers. It's just, I've done it all. Save the best for last. I just really like this thing. Oh, I'm so happy right now. And so now we come to that part of the video where we answer the initial question and ask a second one. And the initial question was, is the Diablo GT that much better, that much more significant than other Diablos? And yes. It's so cool. Not to put other Diablos down because they're great, but I mean, this thing, just spectacular, just a real treat. And again, I'll probably never drive it again. There's only 80 of them. The only one in this color is this one. And it was never sold in the U.S. Then the other question is, you know, would I have one? And that's also 10 yeses. Of course, who wouldn't? It's wonderful. The only question becomes, like, you know, do I rob to get one? Well, do I rob like a bank, or do I rob my friend whose car this is? He's really generous and will probably let me drive it whatever I want, but I do want it to be mine. Yeah, I got to figure that one out. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching this episode of Driving with Jonny. If you like what we're up to, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Or if you hate it, you can do the same thing. If you did like the video, hit like, and then, you know, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, do all that. And we will see you next week with another brand new episode of Driving with Jonny. There is something really wild about this car that I don't think anyone has ever seen or knows about. Oh boy, how do you do this? Oh, this is embarrassing. It should be right there. It's probably down and like. Oh, there it is. Do you want me to start all over? No. Wait, I'm pushing it down. Oh, it's here. It's here. Okay, so is this it? Yes. So this is where, not only where you put your briefcase, but the Diablo GTs came with a carbon fiber, I don't know the code, but it's a carbon fiber briefcase. This is the lightest briefcase you will ever hold. And look, Diablo GT briefcase. How cool is that? Come on. And the air extractor is functional. And again, you can just see how much carbon fiber. They went carbon crazy with this car.